I've taken the time to study the All-22 coaches film from the Buffalo Bills Week 7 win over the Tennessee Titans, and I'm sharing my top takeaways with you today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of Go Bills and Buffalo's Run, also the co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Well, folks, welcome in. Time to break down my top takeaways from the All-22 film study of the 34-10 win for the Bills over the Titans. We got a lot to get into. I want to focus in on the slow start offensively, some other offensive notes, defensive notes, snap counts, studs and duds. You know what we do here on the All-22 review. And we are going to start with the slow start offensively. And there's going to be some negativity from me in this opening segment. But keep in mind, that's just for the beginning. There's plenty of really cool stuff to get into about this offense and this defense. But it's going to feel a little bit negative to start. That's because the Bills started very sluggish offensively, and I think there's a lot of questions, a lot of conversation as to what's going on. Why couldn't they get it going sooner? You know, you start a Bills game, you're all excited. You want Josh Allen to have a big day. You want the receivers to have a big day, and you're frustrated, right? They're not getting first downs. You point the finger at everybody in the world, Joe Brady, Josh Allen, the weapons. What's going on here? What do I tell you every week? The answers are in the tape. And so the Bills wind up having 5 punts in the first half of this game. They have a touchdown drive and then 5 punts. They go 4 and out. They go 3 and out 4 times. So what happened? Well, let's go drive by drive and talk about it. On the first drive, 2 runs from James Cook. Get you 9 yards. You have 3rd and 1. This one's easy to explain. You know what happened. 3rd and 1. Josh Allen, perfect throw to Amari Cooper. He drops it. And you kind of wonder, right, if that would have been a conversion, does it change everything? Does it change everything? Fresh set of downs at the 45. You're right at midfield. Does it change everything? Well, he dropped the ball, so it doesn't matter. We don't find out the Bills punt. Second drive, the Bills throw on first down. They get 5 yards to Dawson Knox. Then Deion Dawkins false starts, so you erase your 5-yard gain. You get to 2nd and 10. Then on 2nd and 10, the play, Josh Allen throws the ball to Curtis Samuel on a rail route to the flats. He doesn't get enough air on the pass. It hits a Titans defender in the helmet, falls incomplete. And then 3rd and 10, you get a great look for the routes that you called, too high, middle of the field, open coverage. You're trying to attack the middle of the field. You get vertical stems from Khalil Shakir and Mac Hollins to lift coverage. You have a delayed release from Dalton Kincaid over the middle of the field. Wide open for a catch and run for a first down. Josh Allen's eyes aren't there. His eyes are fixated on an outbreaking pattern from Keon Coleman that Coleman was never able to establish leverage in the route. He never gets his eyes to where they need to be. It's an uncatchable pass. You punt. So a false start into an incomplete pass where your quarterback didn't get enough air on the ball. And then I think your quarterback's eyes were in the wrong place on 3rd down. 3rd drive, you get a 5-yard run from James Cook to start the drive. You lose a yard on a James Cook run on 2nd and 5 to get to 3rd and 6. 3rd and 6, nobody's open. Josh Allen tries to work it to Mac Hollins over the middle of the field. It was a decent option. He's got coverage all over him, and they couldn't connect. 4th drive, you score a touchdown. Brandon Condrington, great return. 3 plays, 61 yards, touchdown. Everybody loves that. 5th drive, And this is the drive where the Titans fumble the ball. Terrel Bernard recovers a fumble. You're in great field position. 1st and 10. Sacked for an 8-yard loss. Deion Dawkins beat on an inside move. I think you can make a case that based on the protection scheme that the right side, Spencer Brown and Osiris Torrance were locked one-on-one and they slid the protection everybody to the left. I think Dawkins was expecting inside help based on the way that he set. Kind of gave him a soft inside edge, and you could see there was a little bit of communication pre-snap, and then after Josh gets sacked, you can see Dawkins kind of looking over at David Edwards like, where were you? Maybe it was a situation where Dawkins just got cooked, but Edwards was uncovered, and he was kind of late to get over there and help. That's the way I would interpret it. And so you lose 8 yards, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 18, and you throw incomplete on 2nd down, and you throw incomplete on 3rd and 18. You have Dawson Knox middle of the field, and it's a contested situation, and you can't connect. It wouldn't have been good for a 1st down, but you probably would have had 4th and 2 and had a decision to make between a field goal and going for it. The last drive that you wind up punting, the 6th drive of the game, it's the last 3 and out. You get a 2-yard run on 1st down. It gets to 2nd and 8. And on 2nd and 8, Josh is trying to work the ball to Dalton Kincaid. And I think Kincaid misread the coverage. He should have sat down between zones. Instead, he continues to carry the route. And Josh is trying to fit it to where he's supposed to be, and they can't connect. I think it's a Kincaid problem. I think he was supposed to sit in that zone, and he kept on running. And then on 3rd down, you kind of get into a scramble drill situation, and Josh breaks the pocket, and you look at the play, and it looks like there's a lot of space for Kincaid to continue running, and I think that's what Josh is expecting him to do. He even kind of pumps at it, and Kincaid winds up sitting down and not running, and he doesn't sit down with enough space for Josh to fit the ball over the top of defenders. And Josh Allen kind of has to eat the ball and get tackled 2 yards short of a 1st down. So you can say that Joe Brady's out coached at the beginning of games, or I don't know, like maybe there's just like individual execution errors that derails the offense. So just little things. It's never one thing, folks. I think that's the point I've tried to make on this podcast for so long. It's never one thing. It's never, oh, Josh Allen is off to start the game, or the receivers aren't where they're supposed to be, or the offensive line's failing, or Joe Brady doesn't know how to develop an opening game plan. It's all of it, right? All of it kind of baked together to get that type of result. You don't punt 5 times in 6 drives and have 4 3-and-outs without there being several issues. And I think you can look at each drive. A drop by Amari Cooper on 3rd down. Two bad plays by Josh Allen in a row on the 2nd drive. 3rd down, nobody's open, no separation. 5th drive. You get beat from a sack on a protection issue, and you can't connect on 2nd or 3rd down. The last drive that you go 3 and out, Dalton Kincaid, I think, is in the wrong place twice, right? So it's that stuff. And it's an issue, right? Because you don't want to have those things happen. And there's going to be times where the Bills cannot overcome that. And in fact, I think you can go to that Baltimore game, and that's an example of exactly what you're afraid of, that, hey, against a team like Baltimore, an upper echelon team, you're not going to be able to climb out of that type of hole, and the game can get away from you. Against the Tennessee Titans in Buffalo, sure, you can come back 10-0 and score 34 unanswered and win a football game. But there's always a lot of contributing factors. And so I'm sure everyone has your own ideas about what the problem was, but it's several different things at different times that wind up costing you the ability to move the ball. So there you go. That's what happened. Those individual things are the reasons why the Bills had the sloppy start offensively. All right, coming up after this, we're going to talk about a lot of really fun things, like how the passing game woke up, and some cool things that I think are going to happen with the run schemes and snap counts and all kinds of stuff like that. Folks, be sure to stick with me. Hey, NFL fans, you could start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with a great deal here, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And look, I had a great weekend on FanDuel. I had the Chiefs money line in San Francisco. I had the Lions money line over the Vikings. I parlayed them together. They had the Bills individual team total over under set at 25.5. I smashed the over. I smashed the over on Josh Allen over 250 passing yards. Now, I missed on a couple of Panthers props. I shouldn't have done that, but it was a big weekend for me on FanDuel, and I'm looking forward to this coming weekend. It just makes the games that much more fun when you got a little action on them. And look, a great deal here for you if you're not already a customer. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, folks, welcome back. One thing that I do for anyone who's subscribed to my Substack or the Subtext. Substack is where I write articles that you can read, 3 a week at least. And then on the Subtext, where I send text messages giving you all Bills news and my reaction to it, in-game text breaking down things for you pretty much after every single drive. All kinds of cool different features there. You get into our Discord channel. But if you're subscribed to either one, you get access to my All-22 review film clips where I did 40 minutes of breakdown of these plays, showing people exactly what I'm telling you on this podcast. You want to see the visual element of this, join the Subtext of the Substack. We'll get you those game clips. And you can see when I'm saying, hey, Josh's eyes should have been here. This is the route combination. This is the coverage. Stuff like that. I show this stuff. And so if you want that, come be part of it, Subtext or Substack. There's a link in today's show notes to join. And either subscription gets you into our Discord channel. We got almost 1,300 Bills fans in there talking Bills. So many cool features. I do like weekly events with everybody in there. We do member spotlights, trivia, daily polls, so many cool things. So check all of that out. Be part of the community that we're building around this podcast through a Substack or a Subtext subscription. Again, a link in today's show notes. All right, so some additional notes here on the offense, things that really stood out to me. Obviously, everyone should be excited. I'm very excited about how this passing game really came to life in the second half. I mean, just an unbelievable job by the Bills and these top 4 options. And I think that's become such a prevailing thought for me coming out of this game is that the Bills figured out who their dudes are in the passing game. It's Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and Dalton Kincaid. Those are the guys. And that's a good top 4. And I'm going to give you some numbers, and I want to talk about some of those, well, not some, all of those players individually. In this game against the Titans, in passes thrown to the top 4 options, Cooper, Shakir, Coleman, Kincaid, Allen went 18 of 25 for 307 yards, which is 12.3 yards per target. To everyone else, Allen was 3 for 7 for 16 yards, which is 2.3 yards per target. Sprinkle in Mac Hollins and Curtis Samuel and Dawson Knox and the running backs occasionally. But your guys, Cooper, Shakir, Coleman, Kincaid, that's your top 4. So as Brady is developing the play calls and the call sheet, and as Allen is working progressions, those are your guys. And they were all very productive. And I love the blend of skill sets here. For Amari Cooper, he's a route technician. And I think I showed every Amari Cooper target in my All-22 review clips. Phenomenal route runner, a true route technician. His ability to create space for himself as a route runner, evident. Great addition. He's going to be a guy that will get you buckets. Now, obviously, the first target was not great. Dropped it. But the next 4 were really good. And his ability to create that space for himself is pretty doggone special. Khalil Shakir, ideal slot receiver. And you saw there was a series in the game where the Bills pretty much leaned on Khalil Shakir, got him the ball in space, got him the ball over the middle, and he created after the catch. And don't sleep on Khalil Shakir's ability to get down the field. That's going to happen. There's going to be some slot fades, I'm sure of it, in coming games here where that's going to put even more stress on a defense. Keon Coleman, easily my favorite Keon Coleman game. And I know that the numbers are good, right? 4 catches, 125 yards. But there's 2 things that really stood out to me. Number one is his route running. This was by far his best route running performance. Multiple examples of him showing good technique, attacking blind spots from corners, using good footwork, some good releases. It was very good. Very good. Showed excellent growth compared to previous weeks where I think his routes have been pretty underwhelming. This was a great showcase. And then his blocking was good in this game too. And the play that really stands out to me is the one where everyone's talking about Spencer Brown getting out in space and pancaking that dude. Awesome block by Spencer. Watch Keon on that play. He stalk blocks that corner for a long time, which also was critical in that play to be made down the field. His blocking was very good. His route running was very good. And of course, able to make some catches and then some big time catch and run. And the long catch and run, that's just an example of being, big and strong. The corner tries to tackle him high. He falls off. Keon spins out of the tackle and is able to get a bunch of yards. And so in Keon Coleman, you have this ball skill, size, physicality, guy that can win after the catch a little bit. And so that's really nice complementary skill sets in Cooper, Shakir, and Coleman as your top 3 receivers. And then you get Dalton Kincaid going. And man, I so much enjoyed Dalton Kincaid in this game because Josh really was willing to target him down the field. His average depth of target in this game is 12.3. And there's been a lot of games throughout Kincaid's career where it's just been, dump and run. Get him into space, throw him the ball, he can turn and run, which he can do, but he can also win down the field. And Josh, on some of those corner routes, man, those are beautiful throws. One time, Kincaid's able to be one-on-one with the safety, and Josh just kind of trusted him to make that play and realize that if Kincaid didn't come down with it, nobody could. And then the other was that long pass on the corner route to the right. Kincaid gets on top of that linebacker quick. Great hand swipe to get on top and clear any contact. And then he's just got tons of vertical leverage, and Josh just floats it out there. It's beautiful. And so as a tight end, if you can be a true 3-level threat, it's going to cause problems, especially with those other weapons. Passing game is going to come together, folks. And how do you not love just the personality of Amari Cooper to this point? Just like the anti-wide receiver. Like, wide receivers are definitely some unique folks. Kind of see things differently, and I don't know. They can kind of rub you the wrong way, but Cooper's like just a buttoned up dude. Very, head down, foot to the plow, not looking for a whole lot of hoopla. Just a really, like a breath of fresh air listening to him talk since joining the Bills. I mean, honestly, after 4 years of Diggs and everything that goes into that, boy, it's nice to have an upper echelon receiver that just is like the anti-wide receiver. So I'm excited about these top 4 weapons in the passing game and what they showed in this game and what it can mean moving forward. One note on the run schemes, Bills good mix of zone and gap runs. But in this game, Tennessee, I think they had a trigger with their defensive ends that if the tackles went down, so if the tackles either pulled, which the Bills pull their tackles a lot, or they blocked down in zone, they crash those defensive ends hard to the ball. And so I've seen teams do this occasionally, but Tennessee did this a lot, and it led to some negative runs for the Bills. I think the wrinkle that I'm looking for out of Joe Brady here moving forward is zone read. And so zone read is a situation where Josh either gives it's a run play where Josh either gives the ball. If the defensive end crashes down, he keeps it, Josh keeps it. Or if he doesn't crash down and tries to, maintain the edge for the quarterback, then he gives it to the running back and they run the ball. I want to see that That's got to become a thing here, or else these defensive ends are going to crash down. You got to keep those defensive ends honest, and Tennessee was unconcerned with that element, and they crashed down and were able to make some plays. So looking for that little wrinkle to evolve here. Offensive snap counts. The Bills played 55 snaps of offense. Josh Allen, 100% of snaps. Running backs, James Cook, 53%. Ray Davis, 24%. Ty Johnson, 22%. Reggie Gilliam didn't play a snap of offense. At tight end, Dalton Kincaid, 73%. Dawson Knox, 56%. Q Morris, 5%. Alec Anderson, 11% as a utility blocker. Wide receiver, Mac Hollins, 75%. Keon Coleman, 75%. Khalil Shakir, 69%. Amari Cooper, 35%. Curtis Samuel, 4%. I think as Cooper ramps up, Hollins' numbers are going to go down. And think about the upgrade there. Mac Hollins is a perfectly fine number 4, number 5 receiver. He can't be your 2 or 3. And that's kind of what he's been for the Bills. And so you'll see Cooper inch up right into that Hollins workload, and I think the Bills will become a better team. And then offensive line, all 5 starters played 100% of the snaps. All right, coming up next, defense. Want to talk about some structural changes in the coverage schemes for the Bills in this game. Talk about the slow start there. Some really interesting numbers, individual notes, snap counts, studs and duds. A lot more coming your way, folks. Be sure to stick with me. Purchasing tickets for an event can be very stressful, but it doesn't have to be, and it's not if you have the Game Time app. Game Time is the fast and easy way to purchase tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, theater events near you. The app is awesome, easy to navigate. They give you flash deals. They give you a picture from your seat, so you know exactly what to expect. If you purchase a ticket, they send it right to your phone, so you don't have to dig through emails to find it. And I also love that they specialize in last-minute tickets. My wife and I, we love to go to concerts, and all these tours are getting announced right now for 2025. Do you think we know if on March 10th we can go to a concert, or on June 14th we can go to a concert with 2 kids? You kidding me? We have no idea. But with Game Time, we know that we can get a great deal on last-minute ticket purchases right up until the day of the event. So check it out, folks, for you. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, folks, let's talk defense here the rest of the way. One note on the defense, there's been a bit of a shift, at least for this game. The Bills played a lot more one-high, middle-of-the-field closed coverage. 66% one-high, middle-of-the-field closed coverage compared to 41% weeks 1 through 6. I like this. The Bills, I think in a lot of ways, the strength of their defense is probably their corners, Rasul Douglas and Christian Benford. So why not dare teams to go after them? I thought that was a great shift. I love to see that uptick. A pretty significant boost. You're talking about a 25% jump in one high middle of the field close defensive structure. And you had a little bit of a uptick in man coverage percentage, 27% man, where they were 16% weeks 1 through 6. So wanted to point that out. I think that highlights some of your best attributes at at corner. And then, of course, it's not like the Titans have a ton of speed at receiver, so not a bad idea to be willing to play a little bit more man. They also continued with the same principles in terms of defending the run. 0% stacked boxes, not a single play where they gave a stacked box against the run, and they gave light boxes 58% of the time. So again, I really want people to understand this. The Bills invite rushing yards. They give light boxes and say, come on, run the ball. We would like you to do that. And these are good looks to run the ball. And so even the smallest of issues with a run fit or, being in your gap is going to create some creases that are difficult to defend. Again, that's by design. The Bills structurally are inviting rushing yards. So keep that in mind as you kind of get frustrated from time to time. The Bills are okay with that. They want to live in that world a little bit. I think there were one of 2 teams, the other being the Eagles, that they presented 0 stack boxes, meaning 8 or more in the box. The Bills gave 6 or less in the box 58% of the time. What contributed to the slow start? The same stuff I always tell you it is. These teams come out and they want to make it a space game against the Bills. Misdirection, play fakes, delayed releases. I mean, Tennessee probably found 6 different ways to dress up a play only for the only thing to be a tight end leaking into space. And so you give all these play fakes, these misdirections, these switch releases, and then all your communication is funky. And the only thing that they're trying to do is just get you to move so that a tight end can get into space and nobody's with him. Just dump the ball to him, catch and run. They probably did that 5 or 6 times. And they gashed the Bills a few times on it. Screenplay, just little things like that. And so I think the Bills got to anticipate this a little bit better. This is definitely the clear trend of how teams are trying to beat you with misdirection, play fakes, and quick game. Short passes. Now, I'm sure as soon as you let your guard down, you're going to give up that explosive play, and that's what the Bills really don't want. They don't want to give up explosive pace in the passing game. That's what they're engineered to prevent. And so teams, I think, pretty smartly come in and say, okay, if you're going to give us this stuff, we're going to take it, and we're going to dress it up and try to turn quick passes into explosive chunk gains. And you know what? A lot of times it's working. Think about every game this year where the Bills have had a slow start defensively. That's what those offenses are doing. Arizona, even Miami, they moved the ball pretty well early on. Jacksonville had some success with it. Obviously, Baltimore, Houston, the Tennessee Titans, the Jets early on, right? It's all of these teams. Got to anticipate that a little bit more. This number just floors me. Through 7 games, the Bills have allowed 93 points in the first half and 33 in the second half. Isn't that crazy? 93 points allowed in the first half, 33 in the second half. The Bills have held 6 of 7 opponents to 7 points or fewer in the second half, 4 of them to 3 points or less. So they're figuring things out. I would much rather be on the side of things where maybe you don't come out and have all the answers, but you figure it out quickly and then play great football for 75% of the game, as opposed to playing 25% well and then really not being able to play the rest of the game. Like, the Bills are on the right side of this, but if you can just start a little faster and not kind of put yourself in these holes, you're talking about playing Mitch Trubisky for the fourth quarter. Other notes here on defense. Last week I talked about Dorian Williams not subbing out on long and late downs. Well, we're right back to it. Cam Lewis came in for Dorian Williams a few different times on long and late downs. So I guess that's not necessarily a situation where Dorian's going to be an every down linebacker. And maybe it was because of Tennessee being a misdirection, quick passing game team. And that's kind of been Dorian's issue when it comes to coverage. So not sure if that's a game plan specific thing or what, but that's something to keep an eye on as we track that on a weekly basis, it appears. Let's talk about AJ Epenesa. The Bills 2 weeks ago made a choice. 2 weeks ago, for starting with the Jets game, that Dwan Smoot was going to start and AJ Epenesa was going to come off the bench. And for whatever reason, AJ Epenesa is just better off the bench. I have some numbers here for you. Starting the first 5 games of the year, AJ Epenesa as a starter, right? Starting the first 5 games of the year, 8 tackles, 5 quarterback hits, and 1 sack. In the last 2 games, coming off the bench, still playing a high volume of snaps, but coming off the bench, 7 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, a pass breakup, and 3 quarterback hits. I don't know why. I can't explain it to you. It doesn't make any sense to me. But Epenesa is just a better player off the bench. So, Dwan Smoot, you get to start, and we'll figure it out from there. But Epenesa obviously making a lot of impact the last 2 weeks. Literally the last 2 games, 7 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, a pass breakup, and 3 quarterback hits. Now, one thing I will say about AJ Epenesa and that strip sack that he had, and watching this on tape, great play, right? He's able to pretty much just run around the edge of that offensive tackle, J.C. Latham. He strips the ball, very clearly strips the ball. And as the ball is rolling on the ground and everybody's going after it, AJ Epenesa is just standing there celebrating, beating his chest, flexing. It's like, buddy, go get the ball. Go get the ball. If you get a chance to go watch that replay, and if you're part of my Substack or subtext, you'll see it because I went in on this on the clips. He's literally just standing there. And I'm not saying that he would have got the ball, but would have changed the pursuit angles for some players, and maybe he would have. Like, it wasn't that crazy to think. Because whenever he wins and he strips the ball, he knows it's on the ground. Why no effort to try to recover the ball? I'm not trying to like take away from a great play, but I just can't help but wonder if AJ is not celebrating for 15 seconds immediately after he forces the ball while the play is still happening. Did the Bills maybe recover that, and the Bills have a 1st and 10 from inside in the red zone to start a drive? Thought I'd mention it. Defensive snap counts. The Bills played 70 snaps of defense. Greg Rousseau, 77%. AJ Epenesa, 73%. Dwan Smoot, 47%. Casey Toohill, 16%. Javon Solomon, 4%. Very curious to see how Von Miller impacts that rotation. Feels like we're getting a good amount of those top three, Rousseau, Epenesa, Smoot, and Toohill's playing less and less. My guess is when Von comes back, you'll see Smoot play a lot more inside reps. And so you'll see a good amount of reps for both of them. And with Toohill it seems like he's playing less and less. Defensive tackle, Ed Oliver, welcome back, 56%. He was very good in this game. Very good. Daquan Jones, 58%. Dwayne Carter, 44%. Austin Johnson, 36%. Another rough game for Austin Johnson. At linebacker, Terrel Bernard, 74%. Dorian Williams, 70%. Balin Spector, 27%. Nick Moreau, 4%. The Bills did run one snap of 3 linebackers. They had Spector, Williams, Bernard on the field. Taron Johnson came off, and that was the long completion down the left sideline to Chigakonkwo. They got Balin Spector isolated up in coverage and threw it down the field, and it worked. And that was the last snap of 3 linebackers. At corner, Benford and Douglas, 70%. Taron Johnson, 69%. And then Ingram, Condrington, and Elam came in for the last 3 plays. They played 4% of snaps. At safety, Taylor Rapp, 96%. DeMar Hamlin, 95%. Cam Lewis, 30%. Again, kind of back in that dime defense role. And then Cole Bishop, 4%. Studs. Got a long list of studs. Josh Allen, Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, Spencer Brown, clearly the best Bills offensive lineman in this game. I thought McGovern played well. I thought Torrance played well. I thought Edwards played well. I thought Dawkins mostly played well, but that false start, and then I think Edwards deserves some blame for that sack, but probably mostly Dawkins. Greg Rousseau is a stud. What a game. 11 pressures, 6 quarterback hits. Deserve more than a half a sack, but his presence was obvious throughout the game. Ed Oliver, a stud. Welcome back. You could tell he wasn't quite Ed Oliver, but like his run defense, the way he pressures, it's just different with him out there. He's a good player. Daquan Jones, I think, was excellent in this game. Terrel Bernard was excellent. AJ Epenesa, also a stud. So Allen, Cooper, Coleman, Kincaid, Shakir, Brown, Rousseau, Oliver, Jones, Daquan Jones, Terrel Bernard, AJ Epenesa are your studs. No duds. No duds. You win by 3 touchdowns. No duds. If I had to, I'm not doing it. No duds. All right, folks, that's it. We're going to do herd mentality next. Then we'll start getting ready for the Seahawks. Big game on the road against a very potent Seahawks team. I don't really have them figured out yet, but they're potent. I think the Seattle Seahawks are the type of team where you would never surprise me if you told me they won and beat anybody, and you never surprise me if you told me they lost to anybody. So a really weird opponent this week, and so we'll start getting ready for them on Thursday and really commit Thursday and Friday to prepping for Seattle. All right, folks, don't miss anything. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills, and I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.